Dear Gen Z, a long time ago, but not so long ago, there were Kikuyus, there were Luos, there were Kalenjins, there were Nandis, there were Kipsigis, there were Mijikenda, there were Kambas, there were Merus, there were Taitas, there were Dorobos, and there were Luyas. There were issues, and those issues were solved. Yes, there were some wars for land. But after a while, things settled. People stayed where they found favor. And then the white man came. When the white man came, he loved our land. And he wanted to stay because he saw it is a good land. And he learned very quickly that there were tribes. And one of the ways to divide us was to make us remain like our tribes. Of course, they were speaking English, and so they used divide and rule. Do you know that it was until the white man came that they named this place that we live in Kenya? Yes, there was Mount Kirinyaga, but it was not Kenya. There was a man called Johnston Kamau. He was not Kenyatta. It was only after the white man came that Kenya was given this name. Our land has become democratic. And our land, our country, Kenya, is trying to align itself with mature democracies like the United States, like France, like Britain. Of course, we got our independence from Britain, and therefore we align a lot like Britain. But if you ask me, the majority of the way we want to be like the United States. That is why we abandoned the Constitution that was given to us by the British, and we adopted one that is a hybrid. It's a little bit of the old one and the new one now. We have the House, we have the Senate, we have senators, and we have members of parliament who all belong to the National Assembly, because the National Assembly and Senate make parliament. But before we got there, I want to remind you something. In the election of 2007, there was a fierce battle because there were groups, political groups. One group was led by Mwai Kibaki, and another group was led by Raila Odinga. And election went crazy. Before you know it, there was tribal fights. The Kalenjin were kicking out the Kikuyu from their land. The Kikuyu were revenging by killing Luos and evicting Luos from their houses. And the war was fierce and bad until they sat down to agree on something. It was called the National Accord, led by Kofi Annan, who is a foreigner, who came to talk to them. And they sat down and they produced the 2010 Constitution a few years later. But it didn't end there. Two of the lieutenants, actually you know both of them very well, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, were the lieutenants. They were the ones who were considered the lieutenants or the generals of that fight. They were accused of crimes against humanity at The Hague. It was advised that they settle their differences here, but they refused. Because that accord that gave us power sharing, where Kibaki remained president and Raila became prime minister, it was to end in a peace and reconciliation, which was not reached at. But before even that peace and reconciliation, those who were guilty were supposed to be tried in Kenya, and they were supposed to be sentenced or serve their time in Kenya. That is, if they did not confess and seek, redemption and reconciliation. So they said, let's not be vague. Let's go to Hague. Uhuru and Ruto said that. And while they were being tried there, they became very good buddies, because the sympathy they were getting was humongous. And they used that sympathy as a wave to come and run for president and vice president. And they won. Both of them campaigned on the mantra that never again should anybody lose a life because of elections. They won. As a matter of fact, they won after we got our 2010 constitution. And also, after we got our 2010 constitution, while President Kibaki was signing it, and Raila Odinga was there, and Ruto was there, and Uhuru Kenyatta was there, we were all happy. They all said, never again should anyone lose their life because of elections. And so let's forget about the election disputes. Uhuru and Ruto won. But then something happened that we have never understood. After their second term victory, Uhuru and Ruto fell apart. Why? That is something that we must find out. Because it has cost us a lot of problems. There's been a lot of deaths because of the feud between these two. We've lost a lot of people because elections have, the tensions returned, folks died. Several people have died because of elections, contrary to the mantra that no one else should ever lose their life because of elections. No one else should ever be displaced because of elections. That's what they said. But guess what? They lied to us. Yes, they lied to us. Ever since the second term of Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta have been fighting. And this fight has cost us a lot of lives, a lot of money, a lot of time. Time is very important. And a lot of tourism, a lot of tourists, a lot of businesses have collapsed because of these two feuds. Let me come back and tell you something else. We are where we are now because of that fight. We reached the national accord. We gained a new constitution because there were a few good men. Yes, a lot of things go bad when a few good people do nothing. And so Gen Z, you who say you're tribeless, you who say you are leaderless, you who say you're formless, you who say you're partyless, let me tell you, it took me leaving Kenya to live abroad to realize how your identity is important. Yes, as I speak right now, foreigners in the United States of America are standing a very tough time. As you know, we have a president by the name Donald J. Trump. He won legitimately. He beat the Democrats, who never imagined he could win or he should win. And he came up with these policies that a lot of people don't like. And he's implementing those policies. He is winning. In fact, he told his people that they will win. They will win until they'll say, we've won too much. We just don't want to win anymore. Yes, he's winning. And one of the things he has said now is that even those foreigners who have naturalized in the United States can be denaturalized. If you committed economic crimes, if you lied in order to achieve the American citizenship, if you are just a thug, or if you commit crazy stuff, there will be no justice for you. And by justice, I mean the justice that you know, that you Gen Zs are fighting for, that somebody should be arrested, taken to court, undergo the due process, and if he loses the due process, he goes to jail. Well, that's not the case for us anymore. For those of us who have naturalized in the United States, under Trump's regime, if you become denaturalized, you are deported back to your country. So I want you to know that no matter how far we go, we are Kenyans. Kenya is our country. And anybody else who comes from any other country, that is their country. They are Nigerians, they're Tanzanians. You know where I'm going. If somebody does something wrong, that's where they're taken. So, even though you're tribeless, remember, you have a tribe. And we are Kenya, because that name, we didn't have it until it was given to us. We were baptized Kenya. So, you cannot go about saying you are tribeless. You are someone's child. You are someone's daughter, someone's son. And they have a tribe. And that person who is your parent is your leader. And when you are aspiring for leadership, come out and let us know you, because you will not lead as a leaderless head. You are somebody. And so, let's get back to this. When Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki had differences, it took a few good people to sit them together in order to realize peace. Right now, Ruto and Uhuru are still fighting. Yes, Gachagua is in there, but the war is not just about Gachagua. Gachagua is just a piece in the chessboard. The real war is between Ruto and Uhuru. And I want to remind you that when the British were in Kenya and they had occupied the whole land, which they had now named Kenya, it dawned on the people that they shouldn't be told what to do, that they shouldn't be governed, that nobody should love this country more than them. Nobody should tell them that this is not their country. So there was a war. Yes, Gen Z, there was a war. Yes, Gen Z, there were wars for freedom. There was a war in the Kalenjin land, in the Nandi land. It was called the Nandi Resistance. It was led by Koitalel Arab Samoe. There was other wars in the coast by the Mijikenda. There was wars in other tribes areas. But among those wars also, I want to tell you, the Mau Mau were fierce. They were ruthless. They were actually called terrorists at that time. Why? Because they would disappear in the bushes and they would only reappear at night to capture the white men or white women or the white people and behead them. And you know, when the white people saw that, it was horrible. Was it justified? Yeah. If you are Kenyan, it was justified. But if you are a foreigner or you are British or you are American, whatever, you looked at that as those people are terrorists. And so the British got scared. It was so rough. But among them, there were still other Kenyans that they could talk to. Those Kenyans navigated or midwifed a peace deal. They were the negotiators. And they helped to bring about independence. They helped to tell the Kikuyu, lay down your arms. These people are ready to give you freedom, independence. They talked to the white people, told the white people, if you can surrender power and give it peacefully, maybe these people won't hurt you. So what am I driving at? Is that there were negotiators. They were important, without which the war could have continued. So now, Uhuru, Gachagua are continuing to fight Ruto. Kenyans, I can ask you today. Today was Saba Saba. There were demonstrations. There were riots. There were restraints. There was police force everywhere. Who won? Who won? Yes, you can say, oh, the streets were empty. Nobody succeeded in going downtown. Therefore, we won. Because there was billions and billions of dollars that the government lost. But I can also ask you, how much money did you make today? You own a business? How much did you make today? Rather, let's ask it a different way. How much money did you lose today? How long can you sustain that? For the government, I can ask them, did you see what you encountered today? Are you happy that there was a total shutdown? To the parents, to the Gen Zs, to anybody who lost their lives, if you can hear me, was it worth it? To the injured police or injured civilians, was it worth it? Well, if your answer is yes, then let me tell you this. An eye for an eye will leave the whole country blind. Yes, that's it. You can sit back and you have won. But if we continue like we are continuing, the whole country will be blind. The country is going in the wrong direction. And it will continue that way if a few good people don't do something. So I'm offering myself to mediate. I've received several communications from both sides asking, how is this gonna end? Both sides are tired. Both sides are worried. Both sides are nervous. They don't know the next step. But let me tell you, something like this always has the tendency to escalate, because those who died today, there'll be a group of people who want to revenge them. And when they revenge them, the state will want to show that they are in charge. On and on and on. It will never end. Yes, I want to say here that there is a Ras Mau war going on. You heard me. There is a Ras Mau war going on. What is a Ras Mau war? Ruto arudi Sugoi. Mkikuyu apate utawala. That is what is going on. I repeat, it is nothing but Ruto arudi Sugoi, Mkikuyu apate utawala. That is what is causing impatience. Because if you ask me, a lot of the people who voted for Ruto are Kikuyus. Why? Because at that point, they were going against Raila. We've seen in videos elsewhere that the Kikuyu took an oath that the presidency should never leave Kikuyu land. Kikuyus have been in power for a very long time as president or vice president. And this is one of the first times that they're not in leadership. Yes, Gen Z, you may not remember President Daniel Arap Moi, but he was in power for 24 years. But President Moi ruled with a carrot and stick. He managed to keep the Kikuyus at bay for 24 years. Until Raila tricked Moi to get out. Now, the Kikuyus are fighting Ruto. The Kikuyu are forgetting that Ruto is William Ruto. But he's not just William Ruto. He is William Samoei Ruto. Ruto is kin to Koitalel Arap Samoei. Yes, Kikuyus were ruthless. But Ruto is a warrior. He can't give up. Let's be honest. He was elected legitimately. And if he wasn't elected legitimately, then Gachagua needs to tell us. Because you're saying the Luos are not participating. I promise you, I've said it before. If you know that Ruto did not win legitimately, tell us. And we will join your revolt. But if you know that Ruto won, tell me or tell us why you are against the Constitution. Is it just because Ruto supported Raila for the AU position? Or is it that oath that you took that is still bothering you, or that you're still trying to fulfill? That the presidency will never go to an uncircumcised man, as if you know that Raila is not circumcised. So, yes, this war is going to continue and casualties are going to be there if a few good people do nothing. That is why, again, I'm saying I'm offering myself to negotiate for peace. And so what is this peace negotiation going to look like? What does Gachagua want? Ruto must go? When? Please finish that. Ruto must go. We all agree. but when. Now, you cannot bring that to the table. Okay? We can talk about Ruto leaving in 2027. If you come to the negotiating table, you could say, we demand that Ruto should not run for re-election. Because me as Gachagua, he shortchanged me. He denied me my full term. Therefore, he shouldn't finish his 2-year, the second term. Maybe Ruto will agree to that if Gachagua and those who are protesting right now agree to say, yeah, there's no reason for these demonstrations. Let's go home, and in the next election, we have convinced Ruto not to run for office. That's something we can talk about. But what we must all agree is that this crazy demonstration and escalation of words that are making the country in a constant edge should end. Me, I'm offering myself to negotiate. Yes, I'm a Luo, and we negotiated for the independence. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was on the table, and he helped to bring independence. We also negotiated for the accord. Raila Odinga was on the table, and he brought the 2010 Constitution and the National Accord. So we are always there. We are there because we Luos are Kenyans, and we are damn proud of it. Now, I have a piece of advice for other tribes. Just play your role. Do not deny your identity. Play your role. But for those who have participated in trampling the rights of others, they should consider whether they should be on the ballot. Why am I saying this? My message goes to Fred Okengo Matiang'i. In a video that I did, I asked you to come out when you are willing to declare what happened during your tenure. You were the prime cabinet secretary during Uhuru Kenyatta. And Uhuru Kenyatta used you to put Ruto in his place. So you are actually a material witness to the reason why Kenya is where it is. You participated. You are a participant of the disorder that we are now witnessing because you committed crimes against Kenya. One of those crimes that you committed against Kenya was the deportation of one Miguna Miguna. It was during your tenure that Miguna Miguna was injected with sedatives and thrown into a plane and deported from his land. What do you say to that? Who gave you those orders? Was it Uhuru Kenyatta? Was it William Ruto? Or was it both? And even though you say you are just executing your duty, right now you want to run for the president of Kenya. You have to come to the table, come to the press. Don't wait for any reconciliation commission or commission of inquiry. Tell exactly what you did. Tell us what you did to William Ruto. Tell us what you did or who gave you the orders to do what you did. Come clean. Then and only then can you say that you present yourself for the position of president of Kenya. To my brothers, the Abagusi people, I have nothing against your tribe. You have the greatest number of intelligent people leaders who are capable of being president. One of them is Justice Maraga. Justice Maraga is capable of being Kenya's president. Present him to us. We will support him, irregardless of our tribe, because we love the Kisis. The other one, who is my candidate of choice for the 2027 presidential contest, is one Morara Kibaso. And I'm very disappointed that Morara Kibaso removed himself from contestation. Morara Kibaso is the only Kenyan politician in the history of Kenya that I have known that was humble enough to reach the people and ask them to contribute to his campaign. That was different. That is somebody who is humbling themselves and saying, I'm offering myself for leadership. I don't have money. I will not give you money so that when I win, I will loot and steal to return what I used to get into power. Morara Kibaso asked us to contribute to his campaign, which means that when he wins, we own him. He doesn't own us. So Morara Kibaso, wherever you are, if anybody is hearing this video or is watching this video, talk to Morara Kibaso and tell him he has a lot of admirers because of his potential. So ladies and gentlemen, as we wake up in the morning and count the dead and count the injured and have a discussion about who won or who lost last night, remember this: an eye to an eye will make the whole nation blind. And a nation will go down the gutters if a few people do nothing. Cheers.
Kenya inchi yangu, Kenya inchi yangu iliyo uhuru. Inchi iliyo uhuru, toka sasa mpaka milele.